everyone, welcome to IGNOU's classroom. In the last session, we talked about the origin or the evolution of organizational behavior, and we also saw a few of the important organizational behavior theories, right? Starting with the classical movement, then social man theory, behavioral theory, human resource, bureaucracy, all such things we saw. So in the next few sessions, starting from this one onwards, so you'll be looking a little bit more deeper or in depth into each of these theories, so that the upcoming topics, when we actually start learning about the organizational behavior concepts, you will have a basic understanding of how or why all these things came into being. Okay, so in today's session, we will be talking about the classical movement. So a few of the topics that we will be discussing in this session will be about the evolution of classical movement, the theories in the classical movement related to OB, that is scientific management theory, administrative theory, structural theory. It is called structural theory, but it is actually the theory of bureaucracy. Okay, and we will also see some of the few positives as well as the criticisms of this classical approach towards organizational behavior. So if you remember, the classical era, it actually started from 1900s to the mid 1930s, and it is in the mid 1930s that the social man theory of organizational behavior started gaining momentum. Okay, so that is why the classical era is said to be from the 1900s to the 1930s. And the theorists in this era, the major managerial theorists in this era were Taylor, Fayol, and Max Weber. Okay, and we will see about you will see the theories which were proposed by each of them. So the what you can say, the scientific theory, which was one of the first theories that got developed during this classical era, was proposed by Taylor. Then the administrative theory was proposed by Fayol, and the bureaucracy theory, or what our book calls it, the structural theory, was proposed by Weber. So according to this whole scientific management theory, actually the emphasis in each of these three theories was on defining clear organizational purpose, laying out objectives, aligning the responsibilities across the levels of organization and all, in order to come or bring forth organizational productivity or organization's effectiveness. Okay, and managers in these each of these theorists, they advised managers on how to define the duties, responsibilities, how to achieve work specialization, how to do the division of labor, how to coordinate all such things, how to manage the hierarchies. All these different aspects were instructed in these theories. Okay, so basically these are all management theories. That is why we managerial aspirants are learning it. And each of these theorists, okay, they proposed ways on how one manager could bring forth organization's effectiveness, right? So the first theory in this is the scientific management theory. As I said, it was proposed by Taylor. So this scientific management theory, it was proposed by Taylor, okay, who lived between 1856 to 1917. He is known as the father of the scientific management. And this scientific management theory, it is also known as Taylorism. Okay, and the whole focus of this theory was on finding what you can say, individual efficiency and productivity. Okay, that is how you can increase the organization's productivity or the organization's production efficiency or production capacity by increasing the individual workers' productivity. Okay, so that is, according to this theory, workers' efficiency translated into managerial efficiency, which translated further into organizations' effectiveness. Okay, so it is kind of like a bottom up approach, because the workers come at the bottom level, right? Organization comes at the top level. So what Taylor did was, actually he divided, say he took one job, okay, as an example, and he divided that particular one job into a set of tasks. Okay, so one job he divided into many smaller tasks, and then what he did is, he focused on how that subtask, that smaller individual unit of task, can be made or done in the most efficient manner. Okay, by applying a scientific method, like what you can say, if it is physical labor, what is the least like for example, if it was laying bricks, okay, what is the movement with which he can take the brick and lay it on top of another brick in the fastest way, in the most efficient way, such that he doesn't have to spend too much time on it, or have the least impact on his energy, like that. All the scientific things everything related to biology, physics, chemistry, all those kind of things, the scientific way of doing stuff, that is how he approached it. Okay, so he timed each way of doing a particular task, and then, like for example, if I have to pick up a brick, okay, then what is the easiest, how all the different ways in which I can pick up a brick, and then how much time will each of those ways take, how much energy will I have to spend, how many bricks can I pick, like that, in using each of those methods. Okay, sorry. Each of that he timed, and then he arranged all of them to create the most efficient set of tasks to complete a job. So his approach actually aimed to make the work, according to him, his approach would make the work more motivating as well as efficient, while compensating fairly workers based on the complexity of those tasks or jobs which were performed by the workers. Okay, so that was the scientific, what you can say, scientific theory of scientific management theory. So if you look at or evaluate the scientific management theory, the whole job, that one particular job was divided into many subtasks, right? And each of those subtasks were kind of like repetitive works. Okay, so an individual worker who is assigned one particular task will only learn that particular thing, okay, that one small subtask. So naturally the skill that is required to do that particular task is also very limited, and that worker will only be skilled at that one small portion of that entire job. So the workers also got treated same as any other factor of production. So this is the first, if you remember the evolution of HRM, initially humans or human laborers, human resource was treated as a factor of production, right? So that is this thing. Okay, and each individual worker was seen, and this group dynamics, that was totally ignored, that was not at all considered. Only it is like, there is one machine, like that there is one worker, like that. Production managers actually acquired a very high level of uncontrolled power in this case, in this when this theory was applied to industries or in factories, and therefore naturally there was high dissatisfaction among union and non-union members for heavily controlled work. See, think about it, right? You're treating humans as some machine, right? It is totally inhuman. We are not working beasts, right? We are not beasts of burden, and that is one of the main criticisms also of the scientific management theory, because the focus was just on the efficiency part of it. Okay, and there was absolutely no attempt made to understand the employee or the manager, and how this dynamics, group dynamics works, how people behave differently in groups, how people behave differently individually, what is the relationship between that has to be forged between an employee and the manager. Nothing of that sort was considered. Pure dissected scientific approach, like absolutely zero human touch. That was this scientific management theory. So, but still, when you talk about the relevance of the scientific management theory, we are talking about the importance of human behavior, individual human behavior at work. Workers were viewed, and this is one of the assumptions of this theory also. In this theory, workers are being viewed as rational economic beings who have underlying motivations, like, for example, higher incentives for a higher output. Okay, that is, it's just viewing workers as, what you can say, they're just working for the money. So as much output you give, that much money you get. That kind of an approach or assumption, that was the assumed to be the individual's motivator at work. And relatively better industrial harmony through higher wages was promised from this increased output. There was a elimination of physical burnout, because you are doing it in the most efficient way with the least amount of energy required. So the physical burnout that otherwise employees might face will definitely be reduced a lot. And whatever skills you got, or whatever skills you have, are matched with the skills required for the job also. So there was a better matching of work with skills. Better coordination was also there between the management and workers when you compare it with a situation before this theory. Okay, so before this theory and after this theory's application, we could see a much better coordination between the management and the workers. So that was about the first theory in the classical era, that is the scientific management theory. Next comes the administrative theory, which is also called as the process theory, and this theory was proposed by Fayol. So Fayol, he has a very interesting journey into becoming a management theorist. He was actually a French mining engineer who used to document his work daily work routines and thoughts, and that is how eventually he turned into a management theorist, and he was a peer of Taylor also. So he was a follower of this classical management theory, but then he found out that there needs to be something more to the scientific management theory. So unlike this bottom up approach of workers productivity translating into organizations effectiveness or organizations productivity, Taylor, so as we said, right, in the scientific management theory, you are focusing on that individual unit of human, right? That is how it was focused. Taylor actually saw that or focused on this organization and structure of the work tasks. And he looked at how management and workers are organized within the business to actually allow for a completion of a particular task. So he actually had a what do you say, an opposite of Taylor's approach. Okay, he had a top down approach where an effective organization with an effective management will have a positive effect or will have an effect on the productivity of the operational level workers. So according to him, mm, managers should be first made aware of how to treat the workers, kind of an attitude he had, right? So the managerial efficiency is what has to be translated or what will be translated or what will create workers efficiency. If your manager is not efficient enough to properly plan and organize the tasks, then your workers can't be blamed. That was what you can say, Fayol's approach. Okay, and he proposed that all managers should perform these 5 management functions. Okay, planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. And these functions are even still universally accepted across any organization for any manager to perform. And he also argued that management was an activity common to all types of organizations, which is true, right? If you think about any organization, even a sole proprietorship with just one person working, you need to have proper management, right? You need to plan, you need to organize, you need to control and coordinate and do all those things, right, in order to achieve success. So that was Fayol's approach. So in his book, okay, he has written multiple books, and in one of those books, he has proposed the 14 principles of management, which is the key or the most important point in this administrative theory. These 14 principles has to be taken care of, has to be memorized. Okay, they are division of labor, authority, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, remuneration, centralization, subordination of individual interest to the common good. Okay, that is the common goal of the organization. Scalar chain approach, there should be order, equity, stability of tenure, initiative, and esprit de corps, or nothing but team spirit. Okay, these 14 principles of management has to be followed by management in order to achieve worker efficiency, is what Fayol suggested. Okay, then the third theory, okay, in the classical movement, that is the structural theory or the bureaucracy theory. Okay, this was proposed by Weber. Weber proposed it. Weber is a German psychologist, is a German sociologist who identified the key characteristics of a type of organizational structure called bureaucracy or bureaucratic organization, and he established that this type of organization has an administration of expertise and discipline. So you look at Taylor, you look at Fayol, the previous theories prior to the structural theory or prior to this bureaucratic theory, they all focused on individual efficiencies. How to increase individual efficiency. When Taylor focused on individual worker efficiency, Fayol focused on the managerial efficiency. But Weber actually looked at the organization structure and the organization's environment as a whole in order, and that is where he searched for answers to increasing the productivity of the organization. So according to him, he said that we have to divide the organization, okay, into a clear hierarchy with very detailed rules and a very strong chains of authority. That is what we still see, right? There is a CEO or there is a CFO, there are managers, then there are what you can say, area level managers, then there are department level managers and things like that, right? There is a very clear hierarchy. And he said that within these hierarchies or between these hierarchies in an organization, you should make sure that nothing is personal, right? These transactions should all be done in a very impersonal manner. That is what he said. And labor as well as work has to be divided along these hierarchies, and each individual worker should report to only a single manager. It is not like many people will assign work to a single person. Then everything is going to be a chaos, right? So, And when he said impersonal relations, the authority as well as the reporting structure and everything has to be based on clear cut rules. Okay, that is, a production engineer will report to the productions department head. A sales, what you can say, a field sales officer will report to the sales manager, and that sales manager will report to the area manager. The area manager might be reporting to the CEO, like that, depending upon your organization's vastness and size and everything. The levels would change, but there will definitely be a clear cut, what you can say, hierarchy. Okay, who is who and who reports to who, and who should you report, all those things, that is still followed even today. Organizations still follow, to a certain extent, this bureaucratic approach, right? So the key features of this bureaucracy theory are that job tasks will be assigned as official duties for all the job levels. There will be clear division of labor as well as work specialization for every job. There will be a hierarchy based on positions. Uniformity or consensus of decisions and activities should be attained through formal rules and regulations. Okay, employment is based on technical qualifications and aligned with the long-term career goals of a professional. The easiest way, or the easiest thing you can think about when you think about bureaucracy, is think about a government office. Okay, think about a government office, and you might find, leave aside the people coming in late, going early, corruption stuff. Okay, leave aside that, but think about how a government office should actually be functioning, and you will get a picture of bureaucracy. Okay, so as we said, the four main features of bureaucracy are: number one, specialization. Okay, specialization of jobs that the person doing it to ensure continuity in case, or if in case a worker leaves. Hierarchy of authority will establish a clear distinction between management and workers and further levels of authority among the management. There will be a system of rules which aim to achieve a formal and efficient process of work. Impersonality implies that assigning authority should be based on rules and it should not be done randomly. Now, definitely, bureaucracy also comes with its own set of criticisms, like there is too much focus on rules, regulations, documentation, and stuff. Executives will be showing off this bureaucratic status and authority, right? We all know that. Think about a government office again. Lack of flexibility in adapting to changing situations. Again, government offices, right? Over secrecy on administrative procedures. That is changing with the Right to Information Act, but still, impersonal relations can cause insensitivity to personal problems of employees, and there will be a lack of empathy towards the employees. That is not a great thing, right? If your manager just doesn't understand that you are also a human and you have people at home whom you have to take care of, that's not a very good place to be, is it? But it happens. That is what happens in a bureaucracy. Until you die, you're supposed to um, until it is your death, you're supposed to be there in office, right? That kind of approach, because we are impersonal. It is a total impersonal approach in bureaucracy. And as you might have noticed, completely being impersonal is not something that is practical, because we are all humans. So we will wind up by checking out some of the few positives and negatives or criticisms of this classical approaches. Okay, so the very first theory we studied, the scientific management theory, it viewed management in a very systematic manner. The focus was on common principles applicable to all the organizations, as well as on evaluating the organization's effectiveness. Coming to the criticisms, definitely there is a lack in the lack of focus on the personality factors, perception of organization structure where workers have restricted control of work environment, no flexibility in adopting flexible managerial styles. There is too much dependent on a few fixed principles, that is rules. Concerns over application of classical approach in the practical world, like for example bureaucracy. It is not practical, or even scientific management theory, it is not practical that some people can do some work in one way much better than another person can. And if you force a single what you can say, a single procedure on everybody, then some people may find it hard to cope with that, right? Some people may take it, some people may be at home with it, some people may not like it. Like for example, if you force everybody to write with left hand, because in your studies you found that people with left hand write faster or get good grades, and if you force your child to write with the left hand, it's not going to work for him if he is right-handed, right? Okay, so things like that, that kind of what do you say, that kind of issues were there. There was no focus on situational factors in the organization, and there was no focus on the social as well as psychological attributes of workers. So that was about the classical approach. In the next session, we'll be talking more on the social man theory, and other in the upcoming sessions, other theories like that. Okay, so if you have stuck with me till here, thank you so much for your time. I hope that this session was useful to you. And until I see you in the next session, bye bye and have a great day.